Hello, this is John Locke, and today I want to talk about URL structure in its influence on SEO, and specifically, does siloing work, or does so-called siloing work? So this video is coming to you a little bit late today. I've been trying to do one video per day and keep that YouTube streak alive. This week has been really busy with client work. So this video is coming up a little bit late, but my good friend Curtis McHale asked this question, and he was saying, when it comes to picking a CMS, a content management system, aside from WordPress, what considerations are there? Do you want to keep the URL structure, like the domain name, then the category, and then the year, and then the actual title of the page, or can it just be the domain name and then the title of the page? So that's an excellent question, and this is something that I've been meaning to address for a while now. So to answer your question, if it's a straight blog, just have the URL structure be domain and then the actual title or slug of the page. I think that's the best URL for a blog. If you want to have something like the domain name, and then if you only have one category on each post, then you could do category and then the actual title, but that's something that I've been meaning to talk about too. I've never seen a benefit from it. I've observed other people that have tried to do this. I've seen other people that have overhauled their URL structure, and I have never seen an actual real benefit from changing your URL structure to do this, at least for a blog. Now, for an e-commerce site, there might be a little bit, maybe a little bit of benefit of having it be the domain name, maybe shop or products or whatever that shop slug is, and then either the product category and then the product. But it's probably just as well to have it be the domain and then either the product category or the shop slug and then the actual product title. The bottom line is, a lot of people preach siloing or making the URL fall a certain way, like having the domain and then blog and then category and then title, and this will help you. A lot of that stems from a post that Neil Patel wrote probably about 6 or 7 years ago, where he did this on his site. And at the time, he said that he got a little bit of a boost from it. This is a really famous story. I think that he said that he paid a friend of his $15,000 or something for this SEO secret or tip at the time. It makes for a great story. I think at the time maybe it provided a little bit of a boost, but there's a lot of people out there preaching siloing. But to me, it's just a shortcut. It's a shortcut. You're trying to shortcut the actual work of putting content on the page of what Google wants to see. And I don't think that it makes a super big difference, to be quite honest. And like I said, I've had client sites where there's the product slug or the product category slug before, and then other products in that same category where there's no category slug before in the URL. It doesn't seem to make a bit of difference at all. So that's why I say I don't think siloing actually does anything, and I'd be hard-pressed to find anybody that could honestly say that without any other changes, no changes to the content, no changes to the backlinking structure, and they just did straight siloing, that it made a big SEO difference. Even though some people will tell you that. I think it's a shortcut or a fabricated thing that people believe in because they want SEO to be easy. Listen, the biggest thing that Google really is looking at is making sure that you match the content of the page to what people are looking for or what they're trying to do for that specific keyword phrase. So if people are searching for a certain thing and they want to buy something, then make sure that the page that you're trying to optimize, people can buy something. If they're trying to find out information for a certain search phrase, Make sure that the page you're trying to optimize is not a, an e-commerce page, but it's an informational page. That's what I'm talking about. That's the biggest thing. Now, I do think that there is a little bit of benefit, like I said, to having some sort of structure to your URLs. And don't get me wrong, I don't really consider this siloing. I just consider this logical organization. Let's say that you have a custom post type, or you have a certain type of post, like events, or whether it's events or products or services or locations. If you have like your domain name and then that slug and then the actual post, that I consider to be logical. That sort of thing I don't really consider to be siloing. I think it's just good structure. But let's say that you were really trying to take this to an extreme, and I'll give you a case of what I mean by extreme siloing that I don't really think makes a big difference. Let's say that you had a whole bunch of locations and you wanted to do something. Let's say that you, not a whole bunch, but let's say like you have 10 locations and you're trying to optimize them. And then you take the siloing thing like really far, and then you say it's domain name and then the state, and then, let's say the domain name, then locations, then the state, and then all the different cities. I really don't think that that's really going to make too big of a difference. I think Google knows like what cities are. Having all the locations on one page and then breaking them out into separate pages is fine. In the same way, let's say we have services. I've seen people do this in digital marketing where they'll break things out into weird type of siloing where it's the domain name, and then let's say we're going to put everything under a main category of internet marketing, and then a subcategory of SEO, and then the actual service. So let's say it's something like the domain name, internet marketing, SEO, and then local SEO. I think that's taken it a little bit too far. If you just did something like the domain name, services, and then local SEO, I think that would be totally sufficient. Going beyond that is really trying to manipulate Google and trying to tap into some hack that's going to like be good for SEO. Google just looks at the words that are in the URL. It doesn't really look at the, like you've got it like nested under this page, so it's more important, or it's, I understand it better because it's nested underneath this other page. I don't think it really works like that. Even though some people say that, I've never seen evidence that it does work like that, either with side projects that I've done, with client sites, or observing other people trying to implement this. I've never seen any type of change. So, Curtis, your other question, what's the best CMS for if you're switching off of WordPress? I think that's something that more and more people are starting to ask. WordPress has like a large market share in the CMS, the content management system market. The two that I would stay away from, number one would be Wix. The code base is totally inefficient. I don't think it's really the code base, the way that Google crawls Wix sites, it's really problematic. It's not good for SEO. Weebly is another one, not quite as bad as Wix, but don't do Weebly. If I had my choice, I'd probably do either Drupal or Squarespace, but there's other ones out there that are great. Stematic, Craft CMS, Perch, Concrete 5, any of these are perfectly acceptable. Like I said, the biggest thing is matching the content of the page to what the intention of the search is. Making sure that you have the actual keywords in the URL, the title, some of the subheadlines, and somewhere in the body text, but mostly matching the intent. There's other things in it besides that, but that's all I want to touch on for now. Siloing, does it work? I don't think it does. I've never seen evidence that it makes a big difference. If somebody can prove me wrong, please leave it in the comments below. My name is John Locke. My business is Lockdown Design and SEO. We help industrial and manufacturing firms with SEO, helping them get more RFQs. We're publishing each and every week, so we'd love to see you subscribe. And until next time. Peace.